BAYON Temple. The BAYON Temple, or Prasit Bayon, is a well-known and richly decorated Khmer temple at Angkor, in Cambodia, built in the late 12th century or early 13th century as the official state temple of the Mahayana Buddhists King Jayavarman VII. The Bayon stands at the center of Jayavarman's capital, Angkor Thom. Following Jayavarman's death, it was modified and augmented by later Hindu and Theravada Buddhist king in accordance with their own religious preferences. The Bayon most distinctive feature is the multitude of serene and massive stone faces on the many towers which jut out from the upper terrace and cluster around its central peak. The temple is known also for two impressive sets of bas-reliefs which present as an unusual combination of mythological, historical, and mundane scenes. The current main conservatory body, Japanese government team for the safeguarding of Angkor, Theja, has described the temple as the most striking expression of the Baroque style of Khmer architecture. As contrasted with the classical style of Angkor Wat. History of Bayon Temple, plus Buddhist symbolism in the foundation of the temple by King Jayavarman VII. According to scholars, King Jayavarman VII bears a strong resemblance to the face towers of the Bayon. The Bayon was the last state temple to be built at the Angkor, and the only Angkorian state temple to be built primarily as a Mahayana Buddhist shrine dedicated to the Buddha. Thought a great number of minor and local deities were also encompassed as representative of the various districts and cities of the realm. It was the centerpiece of Jayavarman VII's massive program of monumental construction and public works. Which was also responsible for the walls and bridges of Angkor Thom and the temples of Preah Khan, Ta Prohm, and Banteay Kadai. The similarity of the 216 gigantic faces on the temple is towers to other statues of the king has led many scholars to the conclusion that the face are representations of Jayavarman VII himself. Others have said that the faces belong to the Bodhisattva of compassion called Avalokitesvara or Lokesvara. The two hypotheses need not be recorded as mutually exclusive. Angkor scholar George Seards has theorized that Jayavarman stood squarely in the tradition of the Khmer monarchs in the thinking of himself as Devaraya, God King. The salient difference being that while his predecessors were Hindus and regarded themselves as consubstantial with Shiva and his symbol the lingam, Jayavarman as a Buddhist identified himself with the Buddha and the Bodhisattva. plus alterations following the death of Jayavarman VII. Since the time of Jayavarman VII, the Bayon has suffered numerous addition and alterations at the hands of subsequent monarchs. One during the reign of the Jayavarman VIII in the mid-13th century, the Khmer Empire reverted to Hinduism and its state temple was altered accordingly. In later centuries, Theravada Buddhism became the dominant Opit religion, leading to still further changes. Before the temple was eventually abandoned to the jungle. Current features which were not part of the original plan include the terrace to the east, of the temple, the libraries, the square corners of the inner gallery, and parts of the upper terrace, plus modern restoration. In the first part of the 20th century, the École Française d'Extrême Orient took the lead temple, restoring it in accordance with the technique of anastylosis. Since 1995, the Japanese government team for the safeguarding of Angkor the Ja has been the main conservatory body and has held annual symposia. The site of Bayon Temple. The temple is oriented towards the east, and so its building are set back to the west inside enclosures elongated along the east-west axis. Because the temple sits the exact center of Angkor Thom, roads lead to it directly from the gates at each of the city's cardinal points. The temple itself has no wall or moats, these being replaced by those of the city itself. The city temple arrangements with an area of 9 square kilometers. Is much larger than that of Angkor Wat to the south, 2 square kilometers. Within the temple itself, there are 2 galleried enclosures, the third and second enclosures. All of these elements are crowded against each other with little space between. Unlike Angkor Wat, which impresses with the grand scale of its architecture and open spaces, the Bayon gives the impression of being compressed within a frame which is too tight for it.